welcome to Guitarist Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.guitarist.com. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston. My honor and pleasure to be speaking with singer, songwriter, guitarist Diego Bol Avello from the band Bufalos. Am I pronouncing the band name right?
Yes, sir. You're pronouncing right. Your accent is way better than mine.
Okay, well, I can tell you my grandmother's family come from Mazatlan, Mexico, so maybe that's why. But tell us, is there really any meaning behind the band's name? I love it.
Well, I'm a 6'6" street guy, so I'm a very tall guy. And when I was a kid, we would start learning English, so people start calling me Bull.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm bigger than the other guys and very stubborn. So since I was a kid, people start calling me Bull. And when I create the band Bull y los Bufalos, Bull y los Bufalos in Spanish, I was in a bar and it was a National Geographic magazine. So they have an article about the buffaloes, the American buffaloes.
Wow.
Indeed.
Wow.
So they have a phrase that they say buffaloes, they are not afraid of the storm.
Oh, wow.
They say they're trying to cross it as fast as they can, so that way they leave the troubles behind. So that's the attitude that I was looking for this band. So
well, it seems to fit your attitude and your music. And I got to tell you, and people listening to this, as I shared with you before we went on air just now, first time I was checking out your video for the single Dinero Primero. I mean, I gotta tell you, it's like really nothing I've ever heard. I mean, the best way I could probably describe it is say kind of a combination of Tex-Mex Spanish rock thrown together. There's a little bit of ZZ Top in there, but I really do think I don't know if it's fair to even compare you to ZZ Top, because I really do think you got your own original sound going there. And I've never heard anything like it. So let's talk a little bit about the band and the single.
So, well, Dinero Primero means you're right. ZZ Top and Billy Gibbons is one of my favorite bands ever, and I live in Texas, so I'm very influenced by Texas rock and Texas blues, especially ZZ Top. However, I wasn't trying to copy it.
No, but just your influence kind of coming out. But like I said, that's why I kind of don't really think it's even fair to compare you to ZZ Top, even though you got that influence. You really do have something original going for your band and your sound. I mean, when I first heard the song and watching the video, it's like nothing I've ever heard before.
Thank you very much. That was what we were looking for. We were looking for, we have a lot of influence, but we have our own style, and it's that kind of rock, and then we switch to Spanish, but we keep it in English, but then we switch to Spanish, and I'm very happy how the song came out, and it's like blues, Texas, country, and a little bit of Spanish. And the video, it was very funny, and it came out pretty well too.
I mean, the video's like very professionally shot. It looks like something you would have seen on MTV back in the day when they were still playing music videos, you know?
Yeah, but we hired Steve Collins from Troubadour Image and Sound. I really want to work with him years ago. We couldn't, so we called him for this video, and he nailed it. He told me, well, what about if you don't sing or you don't play, just acting? So I never act before, just in a couple of my music videos. And I think, okay, let's try it. So we were telling the story, and we keep on doing videos with him. So we trying to create a cinematographic experience more than a music video, like you say, the old days of MTV, like telling a story more than a music video. And getting that Texas vibe of the ranch and telling the story and having fun and making the people like a short movie.
Yeah. I mean, you guys got like a little bit of Tex-Mex, you got blues, you got country, you got everything, you got rock. I mean, kind of reminds me, I mean, back in the 80s, when I think of John Bon Jovi, I mean, he had this image as like the rock and roll cowboy back in the day. I mean, that's kind of what this like, but again, you got your own original thing going, which I can't really emphasize enough. And how long have you been together with the band here?
Well, we created the band Bull and Bufalos a long time ago in Madrid, Spain. I'm talking about 2005 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But in those days was like more like we all had side jobs, and I had 4x4 expeditions, in north of Africa, in Sahara Desert, like running with trucks. So I was very involved in that world, 4x4 of roading. And the other guitar player, that means the band had different jobs. So I hit a point that I realized that we have something good, but Spain wasn't the right country to develop it. So I decided to leave my country and move to the United States and Mexico. I was touring a while in Mexico. So I came here to the United States in 2014 and stopped playing in 2015.
So you're doing this full time now, and that's my next kind of question is, how is it? I've not heard of this great band until now, but I'm glad, thanks to your publicist Chip, that I'm discovering you guys, because great little band. And you said 2014 you guys came over. Now, I got to say that you speak really good English. So did you speak English at an early age, or did you just learn it the last couple of years?
Well, I could talk a little bit English in 2014, but definitely not like now. I still have a thick accent. Yeah. So I learned English with Elvis songs and 50s American rock and roll. And
wow.
So my English was very poor in that time when I came here. But my first two albums with the Bufalos are in Spanish. But I really want to do something in English because, America create the rock and roll. Is the language for the rock and roll. Rock and roll is universal. And it's,
of course.
But these days is the universal language. But in those days, in the 50s, America create the rock and roll. So I want to do something in English. So in 2017, I recorded my first album in English. But yeah, the first 2 years here in the United States was difficult to make me understand other people. But I did it before, and I still have an accent. But it's coming well, I guess.
I mean, you speak well, and no shame in having an accent, because that just kind of is part of your heritage, where you come from. Nothing wrong with showing that off, and I think it's a great thing to be in a band like this, because correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand, that the album's going to be available like in both English and Spanish. Is that correct?
Yes, the album is coming in English and Spanish. Means I don't want to lose my personality or my roots at all. Yeah. What I am trying to do is mixing American rock and roll with my own culture, that is Spain. So sometimes I sing in English, sometimes I sing in Spanish, and sometimes like the Primero I sing in both languages, because it's an English song with a Spanish touch. That's my idea, to keep doing that. Mainly English, but with Spanish phrases or chorus or touches.
I mean, there's definitely Spanish touches. I mean, even in when I'm watching the video for the single Dinero Primero, I mean, you're singing it in English, and there's definitely like kind of Spanish overtones to the music, and that's what I think is cool about this, because you're still able to stay true to your culture. And I think by recording and making it available in both Spanish and English, there is that potential for you to have like a huge kind of crossover hits. I mean, I could see this stuff not just being played on, local rock radio stations, but I could see it being played on Spanish stations, all over the place. And then I think it's cool. I mean, let's talk about the experience. Obviously, like when you're recording it in Spanish, you're speaking your first language, you're probably most comfortable doing that. And then what is it like kind of having to sing it? You're able to sing obviously in English, you've learned English language enough, but do you ever have to sit there and kind of think of how to translate the words kind of from Spanish to the English form so it kind of makes sense?
So, at the beginning, my brain used to think in Spanish.
Of course, yeah.
Now I'm thinking in English most of the time.
Yeah.
So it's coming easier to keep writing in English. Spanish is obviously easy.
Yeah.
But yes, it wasn't the idea to open a big market. The idea was to meld both cultures.
Which I think is cool about this. Yeah. I mean, and you're not doing it in a way just to be, I think, we can really hit the English and the Spanish market. I mean, it's just I think you have the ability to do that. I mean, and I mean, it makes it also kind of interesting, because you could go to Spain or Mexico, Spanish-speaking countries, and you could do a whole concert in Spanish, and maybe you can do concerts here in the U.S. You say, we'll do one song in Spanish, or whatever the case may be. Throw a little surprise there for people, and then you may have people that are able to speak both Spanish and English coming to the concerts. And again, that's
totally true, because California and Texas, there are a lot of bilingual people. When I was playing in Mexico, I was singing most of the time in Spanish.
Yeah.
Spain, I think in both languages, and here in the United States, I sing most of the time in English, but sometimes in Spanish too. So some people appreciated that, like you, and well, that's the way to try to make it a little more universal or a little more real about my roots and about the place that I'm living.
Yeah, and what I dig about what you're doing too about the music is it's not what people would think of traditional Spanish music, you know, like with the acoustic guitar and that. I mean, that's great and everything if you were to do that, but what I love about the music is it's got kind of that Spanish flair to the music, and yet it's got a great kind of rock edge to the music as well.
Yeah, definitely it's American rock and roll. It is totally American rock and roll with a Spanish flavor or Spanish stuff. Knowing the traditional flamenco from Spain or mariachi from Mexico, we love rock and roll in Europe. We love rock and roll in Spain and Mexico too. So I was trying to keep that American culture alive and fresh, but even my personal flavor. So that was, and I think it came out pretty well. The way we recorded, we was pretty real and raw, so it makes the track even better, I guess.
Oh yeah, and you know, the thing is, like, you know, I remember when I was growing up, you know, I was being, like, a lot of people were influenced by a lot of those great British rock bands, you know, like the Beatles, you know, Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, and then a lot of the bands that were over in Europe, they were wanting to be like the American bands. And so, you know, here you got a band coming from Mexico, and you, like, I just get a kick when you tell me, like, you were influenced by Elvis Presley, and that's why your music sounds the way it does, you know, because again, your influence is coming out, but you do it in a way where you got your own original thing going. I mean, people listen to this song, watch the video, it's going to be like nothing they've ever heard before. And I think that's why you got a great opportunity to do something here with your music.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad that the other day I was telling about music is not a competition. You are not better or worse than the others, but you could be different. That was the thing that I like about the band and about our sound. That it's not better or worse. It's different and it's unique. And it's very difficult to find these days something unique. And like you say, American rock and roll influenced the whole world. It means it changed the world. Elvis Presley, Eddie Cochran, Jim Vincent, Little Richard, Chuck Berry. So all those bands, Stones, Beatles, Led Zeppelin, they came from that. And I respect that and I love that. And I want to keep it in my music like ZZ Top or Guns N' Roses. But once again, doing my special touch. And one thing that they came out pretty well about the recording means when I was recording, I was camping in a lake.
Yeah.
And I was writing the song, Dinero Primero, with an acoustic guitar. So this was during the pandemic, during the lockdown. So I sent it to my guitar player in Spain, say, hey, can you put electric guitars here and maybe a drumming and see what's going on? So he did a fantastic job, and I credit him part of the songwriting because he wrote a couple of riffs with the guitar, and then it came out pretty well. So he said, let me send you a vocals track. So I took a hand recorder with batteries in a picnic table, and I started singing, there is no fun getting out of
yeah.
So I sang the whole song, and I sent it to him and said, man, this is super cool. Where did you record this? They both hand recorded in a picnic table, like thinking it was being a demo. So we both very happy with the results, and we were missing something at the beginning and at the end of the song, so I went with the canoe.
Wow.
And when I was with the canoe at the lake, I started doing the humming. That kind of Mississippi humming. And I recorded with the hand recorded from the canoe. I sort of got this.
Wow. I love that.
And they say, man, I can hear you paddling. I can hear the water. They say, well, just put a filter or whatever. It's just a demo. So at the end, we have the song, and it sounded like killer. Like, sound like better than in the studio.
Wow.
I sent it to a friend of mine that he's a Grammy producer, and I didn't tell him how I record the song. And I say, what do you think about this? Will you change something? And he called me. When do you record this? It sounds very real and raw. So I recorded from a picnic table.
Wow, that's amazing. And now you're living in Texas these days, right?
Yeah, I'm living in Texas. Yeah.
And Texas, there's a lot of Spanish culture there. I mean, does that have a lot to do with why you chose Texas to move to?
No, really, because I'm living in Austin. Austin is not very Latin city. San Antonio definitely it is.
Yeah, yeah.
And the border, Houston and Dallas has a bigger Latin community.
Yeah.
Austin is not as much. Means I picked Austin because in those days, I'm talking about 8 years ago, Austin was live musical capital of the world.
Now that's Nashville. Yeah.
Now it's Nashville 100%, totally, I agree. And Austin was like a very real to me, like the music was very real, a huge sense of community between musicians, and they really support independent music. So, and I was looking for Texas blues and Texas rock, so I thought Texas, especially Austin, could be the place.
Yeah, I mean, I was curious if you're all influenced by the late great Stevie Ray Vaughan. You know, he had kind of a Tex-Mex sound going for him. Was he at all an influence on you?
Oh yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughn is one of my favorites guitar players ever. And yes, definitely means he's more bluesy, obviously, but the attitude and the way he plays guitar is very rocker, and he has kind of where he's wearing the poncho and everything, kind of Tex-Mex culture too. Yeah, he's fantastic. Kind
of a very different player, but I could see how a guy like you would be influenced by him. And what's I mean, when I think of what he did, you know, there really hasn't been a player like him before or since, really. I mean, you have guys trying to be him or trying to sound like him, but he was one of the true originators of that sound. Have you guys had much of a chance to play out live? I mean, especially like the last 2 years with all these lockdowns and stuff?
Well, not really. Obviously, when the lockdown, we couldn't play, so I decided to write in songs and prepare. Cool. So we didn't play. Last time that I played was in Los Angeles, and the NAMM show for the Gibson guitar showroom. Not the showroom, the showcase. That
yeah.
Which it was great because Billy Gibbons was playing there this last Tom Fender for the Eagles, and we were playing. I'm hooked with Epiphone that belongs to Gibson, and they treat me pretty well. And I was living for a while in 1 year in LA too.
Oh wow! And so, do you have any plans for any live shows coming up to promote the new album coming out?
Well, now our manager Dean Sweat, that is the headquarters of the Paramore Group, and there's also our record label, Paramore Records. So he's working in a tour. However, we want to warm up the market a little bit with the videos. We have this video coming already out, Dinero Primero, and another video coming called This Veil. There's another song of the new EP, Fury. So we are doing all these things with Chip, our publicist, interviews, TV, radio, Spotify campaigns, YouTube. So and Dean is working. Our manager is working in a tour. And so yes, we're gonna play. We're gonna wait a little bit, but definitely we are going to tour.
And what's the ultimate goal? Like when you guys do start touring, do you think you'll start doing headlining shows, or would you rather open maybe for a bigger name act?
We thinking both. We thinking doing some headline. I play a lot for bikers. I play a lot for Harley Davidson and bikers events. So sometimes I'm headliner, sometimes I'm in the side stage, just depending on how big is the biker event.
Yeah.
So sometimes we will be headliners, sometimes we'll be opening for big bands. Or he's thinking touring with. I'd rather don't say the name yet. Because
I got you. Okay.
We don't have the tour book yet, and maybe happens, maybe no. But maybe we're gonna tour with a big guy, opening for him or just tuning together.
We'll look forward to hearing what that is. But see, that's the thing is about a band like this. I could see you guys being able to open for different types of bands. Other Spanish bands. I could even see you guys if the opportunity ever came up, doing a show with Guns N' Roses or someone like that, or a Buck Cherry. So I think the possibilities are endless.
I love it. Means I opened it for Dixie Reed, keyboard player of Guns N' Roses at the Whiskey A Go-Go on a Saturday night, 2018. So I would love to open for Guns N' Roses, definitely. But yes, I'm agree with you that the possibilities and the potential of the band, it could be with a Hispanic band, or could be with American or European band, classic rock or blues rock, or because we melt a lot of styles on the same music, and so I hope it will happen, and we are working very hard to make it happen with the video and the EP and the single Dinero Primero.
So you mentioned the EP is called Fury. How many songs do we get on that, and is that out yet, or are you getting ready to put that out?
It has 3 songs. EPs used to be 4 songs, and it's already out in all the platforms like iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, so everybody can listen it. And I had more songs, but I didn't want to put down all of them in the same EP. So probably by the end of the year or the next year, we will launch another EP. These days it's more about singles than albums. So I'm a songwriter and all the time writing songs. So this time we have 3 songs, but I'm very happy with it. 3 different styles and all of them, but with the same line, like English and Spanish and Texas blues rock and hard rock style, and it's called Fury. And yes, it's available in everywhere.
And so let me ask you, because you said it's available both in Spanish and English, so so I imagine you might have some fans wanting to buy, kind of both versions of the EP, or which is kind of cool. But if somebody wanted to get a physical copy of actual physical copies, or is this just available digitally right now?
Well, we don't have the Spanish version yet. What we have is the Dinero Primero that is bilingual, that is in I 2 language in the same zone.
Okay.
But physical, we are opening a new merchandising store. I think this week is going to be available to buy it physical, and we have a bundle that when the people buy a T-shirt, they receive for free. The first 100 T-shirts they will receive for free EP. So that is going to be out probably next week.
That is so cool that especially a guy that's fairly a new artist doing that. Here we're giving the fans a free CD. If you buy a T-shirt, so I think that is totally cool and good for you for doing that.
Thank you. It means these days there are not too many people buying physical CDs, but some people like it, like you, and so we have the possibility. But since we are a kind of new band, yes, if you would like to buy our T-shirt, we will send you the CD for free with the T-shirt. So I think it's a cool idea, and it's a good and it's something good for the following.
Yeah, the reason I asked Diego is you could kind of tell from a question. I am an old school guy. I love having CDs in my hands. I know, like you said, not a lot of people buy CDs anymore. I get that. I mean, kind of a modern business way of doing things. Like you said, releasing a song at a time, releasing singles. I've kind of gone back to doing that. But I mean, I used to love buying CDs and looking at artwork. That was a big part of it for me. And see, a band like this, I would love to have a full CD to listen to of your songs and be able to drive to work and listen to the CD on my way to work or whatever. That's what it's about to be. But I think make it available. Give people all different choices. Okay, you get it digitally, you can get a CD, get it however you want. That's cool too to me.
Well, definitely, I will ship one to you. I will sign up one, and I will send in one to you. You are supporting the band and doing this interview. And I'm an old school guy too. See, I like to buy vinyls and CDs, but sometimes most of the time listening music on Spotify. Yeah. But sometimes I like to go to the store to buy a vinyl. Austin is pretty big for vinyls, and go to home and listen to the vinyl. And so we want to keep both
options.
Kind of styles happy, old school people and new school people.
Because again, I realize not a lot of people buy CDs, and see, that's what's kind of sad is when I was growing up, probably the same when you were growing up. You would really get behind the bands that you loved and supported. I mean, like I was a huge Queen fan or Kiss fan, Deep Purple fan. Every time those bands would release a new CD, I'd go out and buy it. I just had to have it to add to my collection. I'd spend all hours looking at the artwork and all that. And even today, I hear people, okay, I'm not gonna buy the latest Def Leppard. I'm not gonna buy the whole CD. I'm just gonna buy the latest single for 99 cents. And I'm like, wow, how the world has changed. Even where I live in Los Angeles, where rock and roll capital of the world used to be. I mean, I can't think where there's a single record store. That's how sad it's kind of gotten.
I totally agree, because albums tells a whole story about your life and about your moment, and so for that reason I didn't want to just launch one single, so 3 or 4 songs. I thought it could be in the middle, but we have it on CD too, and we have full albums. So I'm trying to be with the new technology, but at the same time, there is something good about all the schooling and about how the things are happening in LA, and I want to keep that vibe alive.
Yeah. Especially having that kind of old school vibe. I was curious, people want to check out your old catalog of music. Is that music still available? Like somebody want to check out, the previous CD that you had? Can they do that? Can they purchase those items?
Yes, the store, like I told you, is going to be in 1 week open. We're going to have copies of the Animal, this our album in 2017. That is a great album. It's a full album, and it's my first English album, but it has some songs in Spanish and some Spanish touch, like Dinero Primero. It's going to be available on CD too, and it's a beautiful CD. My first two albums that are both in Spanish, we sold all the copies, but we're thinking in maybe manufacturing again, because some people want to have the Spanish albums too. But definitely Animal will be available, and Fury.
Oh, that's cool. And then final thing for Dave before I let you go, because I was reading this just as I think it was yesterday when I was prepping for the interview. Is it true that your Facebook, somebody hacked it recently, and you want to talk at all about that to let people know in case they're trying to get a hold of you?
Yes, means I have two personal Facebook. Both are full with 5,000 friends, which I'm very grateful. And the first Facebook, the original one, get hacked, and I cannot even get in. It means so Facebook decide to suspend or eliminate the account. So we need to wait 72 hours. But the Bufalos main page is running, and my personal page, Bull Diego. It's still working. So we're trying to recopy the first one. Thank God I have the second one back up.
I will just say this before we wrap up the interview today. I think that speaks volumes of where you're headed and your success, because the fact that they're telling you, okay, you got 5,000 people, we got to close down. I think that says it all right there. But people are obviously checking out your music. But obviously, 5,000 people checking out anything. That says it right there. I had the same issue come up. A lot of times now when I try to add a band or like something, like a page, I'll get this message from Facebook telling me, you've got over 5,000 friends, lose some of your friends, and then you can add this page. They're trying to, they want to monetize everything. They're trying to control everything. They don't want you to get too popular, which is kind of a crazy thing. But this other guitar player I interview a lot, he was telling me, well, the way around that is I just keep opening, pages, and I keep just getting a lot of people following me that way. So there's ways around that. But I think, again, that speaks volumes of the number of people just loving what you're doing, and so keep it up, Diego.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope the Facebook allow me to keep doing it.
Yeah, well, Diego, I want to thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to do the interview. It's great chatting up with you and getting to know you. If you could hold on for just a minute, I'd like to talk to you before you go.
And thank you very much for the support. Thank you very much for the vibe, and I believe you are a truly rock and roller and rock and roll lover, and that's a great chatting. And again, muchas gracias.
Yeah, thank you. Muchas gracias to you. Adios, mi amigo.
Chaotic Riffs Magazine.